Okay, welcome to the benchmark review. Let's start on number 1. It says to simplify negative 3x squared plus 4x minus z minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 2z. We're going to take our eyes straight into the middle here, and that shows us it's a negative sign, so we need to take that, write in a negative 1, and distribute the negative 1 to everything in the parentheses that comes after. The first one has no number in front of it, so that makes it a little easier. We can just go ahead and drop the parentheses on that one and write everything that was inside. So I'm just bringing down the negative 3x squared plus 4x minus z and distributing the negative 1 to everything in the second one. Gets me negative 1 times 2x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 1 times 4x squared is positive, just getting 4x, not squared, sorry about that. And negative 1 times 2z is negative 2z. Now we're looking to make it simpler, and by doing that we're looking to combine like terms. So we'll circle the like terms. I have a negative 3x squared. That can go with negative 2x squared. That'll get you negative 5x squared. I have a 4x. That could go with another 4x. That gets us positive 8x. And I have a negative z, which is really negative 1z, and a negative 2z. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3z. And you're done. Number 2. Solve for v, then check your solution. So the first step on these is always going to be the same. We're looking to see if there's anything to distribute. So is there any number outside of a pair of parentheses? In this case, there is. I have a negative 2 that needs to get distributed to everything in parentheses attached. Negative 2 times 2v is negative 4v. And negative 2 times 16 is negative 32. We bring everything else down, so I'm bringing down that positive 8v, and the equals 8. Now I want to look on the left-hand side and see if there's anything to combine. We want to check if there's any like terms, and I have a negative 4v and an 8v, and that will get us 4v, or positive 4v. The negative 32 has nothing to combine with it on that side, so we bring it down and bring down the equals 8. Now we're at the point where we're going to solve, so we're working opposites at inverse operations. We always want to undo addition or subtraction first, so we're going to get rid of the negative 32 with plus 32. And if we do it to one side of the equation, we have to do it on the other. On the left-hand side, negative 32 and 32 cancel out. The 4v has to get brought down. It's still there. Equals, and 8 plus 32 goes in our calculator for 40. And then we have to get rid of that 4. To get v completely alone, 4 and v are being multiplied, so to undo that, we'll divide both sides by 4. Getting on the left-hand side, the 4's to cancel down to just 1 or v, and equals 40 divided by 4 is 10. Now it says to check our work. Remember, the check for these is always the same. We're going to rewrite the original question. Even if the original question's a little longer than normal, that's okay. You have to write the whole thing. So negative 2 parentheses 2v plus 16 plus 8v equals 8. And now in the second step, instead of the letter v, we're going to write empty parentheses. So negative 2 parentheses 2 parentheses plus 16, close that parenthesis, plus 8 instead of v, another parenthesis, and equals 8. And inside those parentheses now I'm going to put the number 10, because that's the number I'm saying is the solution for my answer up here. So it went here and here. Now this whole thing is going to go right into my calculator. The whole left side. You're going to get 8. On the right-hand side, it already said that it should equal 8, so this is how you know your work was correct, because the check says a true statement. 8 equals 8. Number 3, what is the value of m in the equation below? Negative m equals negative 16. We're going to put a 1 in there for negative 1m, and then you could see that that's really negative 1 times m. So to undo that, we'll divide both sides by negative 1. And on the left-hand side, we're left with just m equals, and negative 16 divided by negative 1 is just positive 16. So that is answer choice C. Of course, there's no check on that, but if you have extra time on the test tomorrow, as a good test taker, you would go ahead and check it. You can always go back to it and just check your work on questions like that. What is the value of x in the equation below? We check, is there anything to distribute? No. Is there any like terms to combine? Yes, there is. There's a 10x and a negative 6x, and then there's a negative 4 and a negative 2. The 10x minus 6x gets you 4x, and negative 4 minus 2 gets you minus 6. Bring down our equals and bring down our negative 70. Now we're going to undo addition and subtraction first, so the opposite of minus 6 is plus 6. On the left-hand side, negative 6 plus 6 cancel out. The 4x comes down. The equal sign comes down, and negative 70 plus 6 is negative 64 in the calculator. Then we want to get rid of that 4, undoing the multiplication by dividing both sides by 4, getting the left-hand side to cancel out just to an x and an equals, and this negative 64 divided by 4 goes into our calculator. We'll get negative 16. And this one doesn't say check either, but of course, tomorrow, good test takers, we're going to check that answer as well. All right, evaluate the expression below, given that x equals negative 5 and y equals 2. So this is exactly like the check step where we write things with empty parentheses instead of the letters. So where there was an x, I'm going to put an empty parenthesis. Where there was a y, I'm going to put an empty parenthesis. And then I'm going to plug some stuff in. So x is this first parenthesis, and they're telling me to use negative 5. And then y is this second parenthesis, and they're telling me to use 2. And then this whole thing goes right into your calculator. And you should get 106. 106 your final answer. Factor completely. This is using that cake method that we were talking about with the greatest common factor and thinking of common factors in general. Remember the cake method, if you don't get the highest factor or the greatest common factor at first, you can always add another layer, we call it, to the cake, and then you'd multiply all the numbers outside. In this case, 15, 24, and 9. The only number I can think of that those would share is a 3. And now we're dividing just like this sort of symbol I blocked out the entire trinomial with. Looks like a division symbol, so 15x squared divided by 3, that's going to get you 5, and then we put our x squared. 24x divided by 3, that's going to get you positive 8. I'm going to put my x in there. And negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. And then if it's written in factored form, we put our GCF out front, which is 3, and everything else inside the parentheses here, like this. And again, test taking purposes, if you wanted to check, or if you forget how to do this and it's a multiple choice, which it is tomorrow, you would be able to just do this through checking all the multiple choice answers and eventually getting that 3 times 5 was 15, 3 times 8 would be 24, and that 3 times negative 3 would be negative 9. Which expression below is equivalent to negative 4x plus 6? I have A is negative 2, parentheses, 2x plus 3. I'm going to distribute the negative 2 through to see what happens. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, and negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. That's not it, because it's a minus 6, and that one's plus 6. 2x is obviously not it. We can't mix an x and a not x. Those do not go together, so we cannot put that one. Please don't fall for that one. That one's almost a trick. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x, and negative 2 times negative 3 is going to become positive 6. Ooh, that one's looking good. Let's check the last one in case. Again, last time I'm saying it. Good test takers, we're going to check the next one anyway. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x, and negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. That one is not it. So the only one that works is B. The product of two numbers is 21, negative 21. Product means multiplication. So we're saying that if I took two numbers and I multiplied them by each other, the answer is going to be negative 21. So number times a number equals negative 21. And then they're telling you, well, one of these numbers is 3. What's the other number? Well, if we don't know the number, then we're going to put it as an x. 3 times x equals negative 21. Some of you will just see it and know that it's negative 7. If you don't, make yourself an equation. 3x equals negative 21, and you divide both sides by 3. X equals negative 7. And then you can test it. Does negative 7 times 3 equal negative 21? Sure does. So your other number was negative 7. Go to video 2 for part 2.